Konnichiwa! Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Nihongo Master podcast. It's Azra, your host, and today's Study Saturday is kind of a follow-up from our previous one, where we looked at the two particles kara and made to mean from and until. Check that one out if you haven't already. Now this episode, we'll look at Japanese particles. It's one of the first things you notice when learning Japanese language. You don't have those in the English language, so it might be a bit difficult to fully grasp its usage when you're first starting out. Don't be scared off by the number of particles the language has. It's actually not that confusing at all. Now you've come to the right place to get a bit of clarification on the matter. We're covering the most important particles you need in the next few minutes. It's formatted slightly different from our usual Study Saturday episodes. But don't worry, you still get your examples with the new language points. Now, let's get our Japanese particles game on. Before we get into it, let's have a short explanation of what particles are. Japanese particles are small words which are used in between other words to show the relations of the sentence. Each particle serves a different function. It can vary from differentiating a subject and an object, showing direction of an action or motion, to expressing possessive. Particles are also known as postpositions. This means that particles have to be placed after the word they're relating to directly. Sometimes, in informal speech, particles are often dropped. However, it can be unclear what you're trying to say if you don't use particles, since the sentence structure can be changed around quite often in Japanese. Long story short, particles are pretty crucial in the Japanese language. So now, let's take a look at some of the most common and important ones. First off, we'll look at wa, which is the most common one out of all the Japanese particles. This is the first one that Japanese learners will learn, and you're going to pretty much use this in most sentences. This particle follows the topic of the sentence, making this particle the topic marking particle. The topic of the sentence can be anything. It could be the subject, object, or even verb. Now this is the general format for this particle. A wa B desu. A is B. Let's look at a few example sentences. Watashi wa Azura desu. I am Azra. Simple, right? Ashita wa yasumi desu. Tomorrow is an off day. The next one is the ga particle and acts about the same way as our previous one. Now, some people get confused as to which to use. You use the ga particle to emphasize something or to distinguish it from the rest. It's also used when you're first introducing the subject. The format is basically the same. A ga B desu. A ga B masu. A is B. Here's an example sentence. Tsukue no ue ni hon ga arimasu. There is a book on the desk. Moving on, the next common particle is the o particle. This particle is used to signal the object of the sentence. Most of the time, it follows a noun or a noun phrase. The general format of the particle is noun, o, verb. I, verb, noun. Let's take a look at an example. Watashi wa pankeiki o tabemashita. I ate pancakes. We're going to take a look at a few directional particles. The first one is the ni particle, and it indicates a place or the direction something is moving towards. The particle often follows a moving verb only. It can only be used when you're talking about the direction of something, like receiving something from others. In that case, it means from. This is a basic format of this particle. Place ni verb. I'm verb to place. Here's an example sentence. Konbini ni ikimasu. I'm going to the convenience store. The next directional particle is the e particle. Both particles indicate direction, but the difference is that e emphasizes on the direction instead of the arrival. This particle is often specifically for directions, whereas the other one can be used for various types of directional usage. This is the general format of this particle. Location, e, verb. I, verb, location. Here's an example. Kanojo e hon o agemashita. I give her a book. The de particle is another location-related particle. It's the opposite of e, as it emphasizes location rather than direction. Let's take a look at the format. Location, de, at location. Here's an example. Puru de oyogimashita. I swam in the pool. Moving from directional and location particles, this next particle is used like the English word to or also. The mo particle is used just like in English to refer to something previously said that's also true now. This particle replaces other particles like ga, wa, or o when used. Here's the general format of this particle. Noun wa, action des. Noun mo, action des. I, action, noun. I also, action, noun. Here's an example. Watashi wa pen ga arimasu. Kanojo mo pen ga arimasu. I have a pen. She also has a pen. This next particle is a very useful and an essential one. It's similar to the English word and that's the to particle. It connects two nouns together, making a single noun. The format is noun to noun. Noun and noun. Here's an example. Pan to gohan to pasta ga suki desu. I like bread, rice, and pasta. This next particle can also be used similarly like to, and that's the ya particle. While it can be translated to and, it translates better to such things as. Here's the format. A, ya, B, ya. Such things as A, B. Here's an example. Nihon no toshi ni wa Tokyo ya Osaka ga arimasu. In Japan, there are big cities like Tokyo and Osaka, etc. The next particle is the no particle, which indicates possession. It's like the apostrophe S in English. It can be translated to it belongs to. The format is noun A, no, noun B. Noun B's, noun A. Here's an example. Watashi no namae wa Azra desu. My name is Azra. Moving on, this particle is often used at the end of sentences. The ne particle is similar to a rising intonation. It can often translate to adding a question tag, asking for confirmation from the listener. It can also be used as a rhetorical device, like saying, "It's a rainy day, isn't it?" The format is sentence, ne. Sentence, isn't it? Here's an example. 今日はいい天気ですね. It's great weather today, isn't it? Last but not least, the yo particle is also attached to the end of the sentence. This particle is used to express a strong conviction about something. The format is sentence, yo. For example, これは私のカバンだよ. This is my bag. Phew, we made it to the end of the episode. You have now learned all the particles you need in the Japanese language. What I did learn when I moved to Japan is that sometimes particles are omitted in the sentence when speaking conversationally and casually. I don't recommend not learning them though, as it's extremely crucial to know them all. Which particle do you think is the most useful? Tell us your thoughts by commenting on our social media platforms. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, if you're interested in similar bite-sized grammar pointers, head over to Nihongo Master blog for more. We even have this episode written up in the blog article for you to refer back to. And if you're keen on picking up some more Japanese for yourself, pop onto our official website, nihongomaster.com, to learn more about our interactive online learning system. At Nihongo Master, we offer efficient Japanese lessons that are quick, easy, and fun for Japanese language learners of all levels, from beginners to advanced. Our smart tools will assist you in areas where you need a bit of a push and congratulate you on the ones you aced. Get a subscription today and get a head start on your Nihongo journey with Nihongo Master. And thank you so much for listening in. Join me next time, where we'll be looking at another interesting part of the Japanese language. またね